with an unforeseen change, it seems as if some of the issues that I was discussing a little bit yesterday have been fixed. Only some of them, though. There are still many scaling issues inside of the game, and that still stands, honestly. Dungeons should still be limited by damage, not by survivability, and I believe that we're still going to be hitting a point where dungeons are going to be limited by survivability, because there's a plethora of abilities that are just flat out bananas, not just the ones in Freehold that we're about to discuss here in just a couple seconds. Obviously, there's still some in Temple of Sethralis, just like the conduction circle. There's some in Toll to Gore, like the Upheaval and Overseer Korgus doubles. There's obviously Lord Stormsong's bad scaling on mind control. There's still a bunch of scaling issues. However, one of the most critical ones that I was the most critical of has been changed, which is very nice, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And we have the ones in Freehold. So Azurite Powder Shot is Skycap and Crag's 0.5 second cast that you actually see a lot of people using line of spot sights to avoid. This is the one that will put you behind the wall and will just basically make you line of sight. This is still pretty dangerous, but this is only dangerous once you start getting up to higher levels. Probably current levels being like the 22 to 23 range-ish, if you had to put like a number on it. Pistol Shot is the ability that Skycap Crag does whenever he is mounted on top of his bird, which does just an obscene amount of damage to people as well. Thank God that is also getting nerfed, because that one sucks just as bad. And Powder Shot, which is the Eudora Shot, which honestly should have been cut in half, because it's still broken as hell. Because if you get double shot, you just like insta-flop sometimes. Most of the time. Almost all the time, actually. Anyways. But yeah, these three getting nerfed are actually going to be pretty big deals. Of course, there's still going to be relative scaling differences going into next tier. Basically, you're going to be gaining significantly more damage through corrupted stuff. You're going to get an extra essence miner, but the stamina that you're going to be gaining is not going to be enough relative to the base dungeon scaling changes. They're actually scaling it up to 45% instead of 30% this next tier, and just like your health pool is just not going to be gaining enough. You're not going to be getting enough. I think they're called perseverance traits or whatever they are. The stamina traits from your neck. You're not going to be getting enough of those. So there's still going to be issues. We're going to go ahead and label this one, file this one in the category of good change. Thank you so much for changing that. What else do we have? For those of you who have not tested Operation Mechagon, there are a plethora of abilities that are incredibly overpowered. Some of the notable ones that are getting nerfed is this Tase from Trixie and Nano. Basically, I don't remember which boss exactly cast the Tase, but whichever one does cannot be locked out while the Tase is being casted. Basically, you can kick it, but you cannot kick it enough because it doesn't have a lockout time. So there are major issues here. Nerf this shit into the ground and give this boss a lockout time. This is not a thing. Please God. In addition to that, this Arcing Zap, the Short Out, and the Volatile Waste, all of this stuff, very good changes. We're 2 thumbs up on all of these because there were major issues. Arcing Zap and Short Out, I remember testing those robots that do this, and I was like, oh my lord, if this doesn't get nerfed, people are just going to get one shot. So we're gonna go ahead and file these under good changes as well. Something that I hear is questionable. I don't really play tank, so I don't know how questionable it is. But apparently the tank buster here, Wreck, is getting buffed from 75% increased physical damage taken to 100%, which apparently is a big question mark in terms of that one, though. But again, as I said, that video still stands. The scaling issue inside of dungeons is still a really problematic thing, just because of how damage is scaled relative to health. We really need to get back to the point where DPS inside of dungeons is the limiting factor and not unavoidable one-shots, because unavoidable one-shots are bad. Say it with me. Unavoidable one-shots are bad. They're not good. Stop that. Goodbye. This is the end of this video.